so you can make them a pie for Friday tomorrow, right?
Oh, you took it, oh, let it go now.
Chip cookies.
You can always push me faster if it's birthday party.
Okay, all right. I know Jimmy's got another meeting.
76th birthday this year.
We'll move on. First up, we have highway. Tony, you're up. You can have the hot seat.
I guess I put my stuff in later. I gotta go first.
Yeah, right, you gotta go first.
Did you
every month.
plug it in yet, Kelly, the seat? Is it plugged in, the hot seat?
It's
all right. That's the time of year. How are you?
Good, thanks. How about yourself?
All right. Work schedule. Still erecting some snow fence, hauling, stockpiling sand and salt. Snow and ice equipment, it's all put together. Patching, cleaning ditches, the usual. We completed the mowing of the roadways, landfills and airports for the year. We completed our hot mix patching for the year. Crews are still continuing to work on the Greenport transfer station. And we completed the final 17.38 miles of center line and edge line pavement marking. Total miles for the year are 334.4, which includes 266.7 miles of county roads and 67.7 miles of town, village, and city. We began and have, since this was put in, finished the rail replacement up on County Route 32 in town of Chatham. That was completed this week. Personnel update. We hired one seasonal labor who has since resigned.
How long did that person
I
stay?
think it was 2 weeks, maybe.
Okay.
Did you get to start any of the trucks? Did you start them up? You didn't even get
Barely
in
not.
ones? Okay,
Had to break something.
there you go.
At least you didn't have a lot of time invested in it. Yeah, right.
Right.
We hired one motor equipment operator. One motor equipment operator is out on workman's comp, and he's scheduled to possibly come back at the beginning of December. And one motor equipment operator has resigned to go to National Grid.
How do we make out with that tree? I've been meaning to ask you. Remember that tree that was hanging over the rail or something, or somebody's
Bunch of
house
trees.
or something?
Was this the ones on the rail bed?
Rail
Yeah,
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, after, and I think we talked about it a little bit last month, after numerous attempts to contact the contractor from last year that gave us a bid, because he wasn't our tree contractor.
I remember that part of it, yeah.
He did finally get back to us with an updated bid, or an updated quote, I should say. So we're working on getting them in there
Okay.
to
It's
to
not
take
done
care
yet,
of it.
though. It's still
It
working.
is not done yet. And we have since gotten an additional complaint of another tree along the rail bed.
Yeah, I thought I heard
Yeah.
something. Okay.
So at some point, we're gonna have to really look at that and decide what we wanna do with it. Yep, that's it on personnel. Got resolution requests. And the first one is authorization for the chairman of the board to renew the intermunicipal agreement with New York State DOT.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second is authorization to purchase one 2023 Ford F-250 XL Super Cab pickup. And this will be out of the vehicular equipment line.
Is that gas or diesel?
It's gas.
And do you need a super cab?
Yeah, it's for the general foreman.
Okay.
And the super cab is I think that's the extended cab version,
Yeah,
right?
the big one.
Yeah, because the crew cab is the
Yeah,
big one.
yeah.
Yep. My current balance in that budget is 59,294, and the cost for this is not to exceed 55,877.04.
And there's no plow, no nothing on it.
No plow or anything on this truck. And this is out of that bid that we have that very short window to, I think, the window closes 2 days after the full board meeting, so we should be able to fall right around the right
I'll
time.
move
Be able
that.
to.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Next is authorization to fill one budgeted position of assistant general foreman in the highway department, and any vacancies are from the base salary of 74,683. Salary level contingent upon years of county service to the appointee. And this is a position that's been vacant since 2020, I think.
2020, I think.
2020, I
You have
think, yeah.
you
Yeah,
have
the end of
somebody
2020.
that you're gonna put in there?
We've got a current civil service list that we'll be choosing from.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, authorization to fill 2 vacant budgeted positions of motor equipment operator 1 in the highway department at the 2022 grade 12B salary of 47,601. And these are due to resignations.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And the last one is authorization to increase the DM 7R 2802000 7R 2802 repairs motor fuel reimbursement revenue account, as well as the DM repair parts, the DM motor fuel, and the DM diesel fuel accounts. Whereas these increases are needed due to higher than expected revenues and costs for these accounts.
Where did he pull that from?
The revenue account for the, is actually higher.
That's what
Than
we were
expected.
talking about that.
Yeah, so Jim kind of broke down, he kind of gave me the best way to disperse it amongst those accounts. It'll put, I think, 50 grand into the parts
Parts
budget.
line.
Right,
Yeah, and then the rest will go into the diesel and the
because we
fuel.
seen that revenue. was-
Right.
What was the revenue from?
We have a revenue line for fuel and repair parts. And it was higher than it was
And the
expected.
fuel that we built
Well,
from
there's
other
fuel we
agencies
build
is a lot
towns
higher.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, we charge 10 cents a gallon more and blah, blah, blah.
So
That money
it'll,
wasn't feeding back into, it was kind of
Right.
drawing on it.
so it'll put the repair budget back in the black and it'll make at least the other two look better.
Yeah.
If you don't lose that, huh?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're glad you're not in Buffalo.
Yes, I am. Or anywhere near there.
That's it. Never know. All right, up next we have solid waste.
Big thumbs up. I know you will.
Okay, so projects that we're working on, we submitted the changes to the solid waste master plan that DEC had requested, and we're just waiting their final approval. We hope to have it before the committee in January. The food scrap digester has been pushed back till late December due to modifications that are being made on the equipment. That will also push back our implementation of the program, but once the machine arrives and the staff is trained, we'll get the educational campaign started. Compactor installation, the new compactor units have been installed at the Germantown, Kinderhook, Hillsdale, and today at the Copake stations. We'll be scheduling the rest of them in the next 2 weeks, and Greenport will be the last one due to the modifications to the site. Grant reimbursement, DEC has notified us that we'll be receiving $18,767.60 for grant reimbursement of the 2018 Household Hazardous Waste event. We will be submitting an application in December for $26,329, which was the 2 collections that we held this year. The RFP for transportation and recycling service will be going out on November 30th. There is a process of a 60-day comment period before the final RFP will go out. This is for our recycling contract. It's a 5-year contract, which is up in July, the end of July. As for the mattress recycling program, we're also going to be doing an RFP for that. In the timeframe that we were discussing options with one of the vendors, we had received interest from another vendor. So in order to vet the process and get the best price for the county, we will be doing an RFP and should have something back for the committee in January. We do have one resolution request before the committee. That's authorization to award the bid for the 7-gallon waste bags to Waste Zero, who is the lowest responsible bidder, whereas the waste bags will be used as part of our pay-as-you-throw program, and the purchase will not exceed $5,000.
I'll move.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Yeah, so, 2 people came to me, right? And I always have negativity for you, but today it's positive.
Okay.
And they said Germantown, they were like, everything's going really good in Germantown, and they were delighted, and it seems like things turned around a little bit down here. I don't know, but that's what they were saying. So
Yeah,
these were 2 constant people that always had something to say. But this time they came and told me that, so.
Yeah,
What are
we've
you
had
doing
some
down there? I
really
don't know.
positive feedback and most of the residents have asked us to pass it on to the board that they appreciate your understanding with the program, so.
I've received commentary on my outpost. There seems to be a concern of the employees of people still kind of taking advantage of distracted employees and throwing things in with inappropriate stickers.
Okay.
You know, recommendation that they go back to the bags just so they can see the county logo if one is inside billing and another's caught up. 20-yard dumpster for tires, still petitioning for that,
Mhm.
just so you know.
Okay.
And they recommend you do $4 and $6 bags.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch that with that before.
Well, we'll think about that for the next budget process. Okay. So is anybody else have
You
anything?
just got approved for enough bags for a while.
Yeah, a lot of bags.
7-gallon bags.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, Phil. Next we have facilities.
Here comes Brian.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
Bear with me. Father time is starting to. All right. First things, we actually found at 325, there was a hot water tank up in the ceiling that kind of ruptured on us. So I was, never knew it was there. It was in the clinic area where we never ran a wire, never did anything. So that was
Was it operative?
Yeah. it ran the clinic, foot sinks in there.
Uh-huh.
So never knew it was there because we found another one over in the environmental services that we knew that one was there. So this one here, and I was like, so we did it on demand instead. So this way we're not having a big big old tank full of water. Yeah. So because I got a phone call and I said, why is it from the ceiling? That can't be good.
Yeah.
You know. So we got that taken care of.
Yeah, the humidifier and you never knew it.
Courthouse, we had to move the commissioner jurors into a new room. I'm working with them. She's not happy about it, so they're gonna try to make her happy. So we're gonna be doing more work in there. But we gotta, build a couple walls, put a new counter in and run a lot of electric in there for, the new staff that's, soon to come by I think the beginning of the year, early January. Public safety building, we just, the cooling tower's off for the winter. Had to replace a couple relays for the entrance door. Let's see, voting machines, that was,
Got your trucks, I guess, right?
so luckily it worked out, but it didn't start out that way with, we had to return the truck the one day because they double booked it. So luckily it was available for us again, so we were able to do it, but I still got to get the dimensions on those things. Yeah, because like I said, this truck was a 20-footer and it doesn't fit everything. So we have to fit up the pick up their what they call the ballot printers that are dropped off earlier for voting machines. So now we have to pick extra. So we're trying, I'm still working with them. We got to try to work out a decent schedule or try to revamp it where we could fit it all. But like I said, it barely will fit what goes out for an election. And with the extra stuff, it's like almost we need 2 vehicles or something like at least 24 foot.
Yeah.
So I actually saw something. There was an auction on something. I tried to get on it. I couldn't find it though for like vehicles coming up. Did you hear about that, Tony? It was like from the COVID, they were going to auction vehicles off. Could have been like plow trucks or something else. I saw it on the news one day.
Oh, really? No, I didn't see it.
No, I have to look into it again.
The trouble with these trucks is, you don't use it much, so it, gets-
Well, I think we were kind of discussing if there could be like a shared use of it,
yeah, that would.
with multiple departments. So I think that's something we were gonna, I think, Ray, we talked about that to look into with other departments just to see.
You can't get a
Yeah, that's
covered
why,
trailer.
again,
Well,
it's
I got this-
along the lines of the
this
shared
clumsy.
I think it will. And plus, I don't think they, those are
like
a piece.
you know,
Just
closed spot.
Motor sitting there, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
These trucks are gonna run over twice a year.
Yeah, exactly.
With the amount of elections and a couple
That's
moves
true.
and stuff. Yeah, so, but like I said, there was,
Changing, it's gonna be an
yeah,
unconscious.
it could be like every couple months, but, no, it was, the truck did sit a lot unless we had a major move. But if we can incorporate like EMO and maybe, you know, the health department, it could be,
You can find other uses.
it
Yeah.
could be an option for it. So,
Cause they were dumping a lot of money out there.
yeah, exactly. So.
You only need to pick up food scraps in it.
Let's see
Look at the
here.
bag.
Pick up the bags.
Yeah.
Every order comes in.
Let's see, airport, repiped the clogged drain, repaired one of the fence lights.
Get any issues up there with the drains up at, Whittier?
No, knock on wood, you know, it's been good.
Yeah, however, that being said, they have missed their deadline, so we will be going ahead and finding them as far as
Okay.
the fact that they haven't met the deadlines that we agreed to. The number one, they had proposed
Right,
and we agreed to. So
and they still didn't do it.
No, they've ordered the equipment, but it's not installed as of
Right.
yet. So
They have it.
they haven't,
You just haven't.
they haven't installed.
Has it been there a while?
It's been there at least, it's been in the possession of the contractor, by at least a month. By at least a month.
Well, it hasn't been getting clogged, right?
Knock on wood.
I guess they're watching that, but it sounds.
Well, yeah, so we are sending out a letter. I did speak with the county attorney
Good.
and confirming that, you know, the deadline is passed, so we're now capable to go ahead and actually find them. We'll be doing it for both properties. That is to say, the rehab facility as well as the assisted living.
Okay.
So there'll be two separate funds, one for each property.
I just have, one personnel update, one employee out on workman's comp. But other than that, any questions?
Brian,
Something like
I
that,
did
it's
hear
like you-
from a contractor that Joe had reached out to for pricing for heating, piece of equipment at the Kinderhook Highway Garage, and I'd like to look at that with one of you guys and
Okay,
talk about where you're going with that, so. When you get a chance, give me a call.
Okay.
Look at it, but-
Yep.
For Joe or somebody.
all right.
I didn't get why you were putting this one back in service,
Because the other one,
because I seen the other one.
the other one, I had a lot of frame rot on it
Okay,
and,
this one's better, really?
yeah,
Okay,
so it passed inspection.
okay.
We swapped the tires.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you know, so we got good tires on the new one, but the next is just the exhaust and that, the part just came in, it's sitting on my desk.
Okay,
So,
I got what you wanted.
yeah, so, yeah, I'm just trying to like limp
No,
this,
good. That's
yeah,
good.
limp this guy through.
I just
a
seen
little
this one with more mileage, and I know we talked a little bit, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure which one it was.
Yep. So,
I'll move that resolution.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
let's see here, that was that one. All right, so then that. So which one's next? This one here, all right.
You got the
The new
truck
truck,
transfer
yeah.
funds.
Yeah, so, whereas the amended resolution will reflect the changes in the vehicle and mile cost of purchase of a one Ford F-350 regular cab gasoline pickup truck with utility body and snowplow equipment. To be purchased at a cost not to exceed $80,000. The fund will be budgeted in the equipment line. The quote we got so far was 77.9, but we just figured we tacked on a little money, just Lord only knows what's gonna happen.
How much was the utility body? How much was the base truck? I don't go crazy.
You don't see it listed here.
Is that a steel utility box?
I think it was.
Brian, you can let me know.
Yeah, I'll look at this. So, yeah, I think, the last one, it was, we had the extended or the extra cab, and that's why we switched it, but in that time period,
Mm.
that price went up,
Mm.
jumped up a good 12,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
How did the aluminum utility body you bought turn out? Was that a,
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. They mounted, painted it, and the guys love it. So we added another at least work truck to our fleet.
Like
No,
corrosion.
I haven't seen nothing.
Someone have I seen those with those
Yeah.
things do that.
No. So, I mean, we're toying with the notion of putting a sander in it at some point, but I think I'm gonna leave it alone because it is an older vehicle.
Right.
So, but the next one, we will put a sander in, this one coming up. So that doesn't include a sander, that's just the plow.
No, I know.
Yeah, so
But if you put a sander in there, maybe you should rhino line it.
that's what we were thinking, rhino line it and
Yeah.
maybe even put a mat,
Yeah.
in it also, just to keep that, because that's what's ruining our trucks too. So,
Need a motion?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll do it.
I'll second.
got a motion and a second, all in favor on the transfer.
I,
and then this is, the last one I have, authorization to declare one vehicle surplus and send to auction. Doing the swap.
Second it.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
I,
Very good. Questions for Brian? Now, we'll go to engineering.
Grand Cherokee.
oh, is that roof you said you had past the highway? Was it the same one they're gonna put the panels on or was it different? The roof you said you had past the highway?
Yeah.
That's the main one. they're gonna put the panels on?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
How far away are they from doing that job?
Not until spring.
Yeah.
Evening, everyone. So starting off with bridges and highway projects, County Route 18, Fish and Game Road. So I've been actually spending quite a bit of time out on Fish and Game. The contractor did start their tree clearing, and that's anticipated to be completed by November 23rd. There's been quite a discussion that's been taking place there. A lot of property owners not being very happy with the clearing. Most of it's a misunderstanding, the fact that the county has a right of way and actually they don't own the property up to the edge of the roadway. So over the years, what they've done is they've put plantings in, they put fences in, so on and so forth. And now we have to go ahead and clear those for the proposed work. So met with several property owners, worked through some of those situations. In some instances, we did compromise as far as not clearing as much as we had originally anticipated. Also got a call from State Assembly's person's office regarding the same issue because they were receiving complaints. We've provided them correspondence that we have been having contact and working with the property owners trying to resolve the issues. Not that we've been turning a blind eye, that we've actually been working with them. So she was very happy to hear that that took place. So that's
The way hunting has been some good timing.
yeah. So it's anticipated that rock removal will start the first week of December. And then once that rock is done, they probably won't go back onto the project until spring to start working on culverts and so forth. As far as our bridge work, the Hickory Hill Road Bridge has been repaired and completed. The Kinderhook Trust Bridge repair has initiated. There will be a temporary closure starting, my apology, Christmas holiday. The highway department has had electronic message boards out so that way people crossing are aware of that closure taking place. And we did provide public notification as well. Bridge New York culverts and also the Stall Bridge. So we've had kickoff meetings for each one of those three bridges. Contracts have been signed with the consultants in all cases, and actually they've started their work. It's anticipated that the Stall Bridge, they're going to start their survey work very shortly, starting next week. And they've started survey work as well as environmental reviews and historic reviews on those as well. So those are all moving along pretty well. Yep. Also, regarding Bridge New York,
The new announcement has come out for funding for the upcoming, what they're calling it the 2022, but it's actually not going to be awarded until 2023 as far as bridges. And they've earmarked $3.5 million for Columbia County. So those applications have to be in for bridges by January 20th. Culverts it's a separate program. That deadline will be January 10th. So again, if there are any municipalities that are interested in culverts, you can submit that. That gets submitted directly to New York State Department of Transportation Region 8. But just keep in mind, it's a very tight time frame. Okay, by January 10th. I believe that they've already sent out notifications to all the town supervisors and highway superintendents on the bridge program. But there'll be a separate notification coming out within the week.
That came out today.
Okay.
Did it?
Within the week as far as the culvert program.
Check your spam though, because I had a spam warning on the one I got.
Yeah, because it was a mass email that went out, so it could have gone into your spam. Other engineering activities, Greenport Transfer Station, top load building is complete. Actually, paving just took place. So we're actually working between highway, engineering, solid waste and facilities to finish up the grading around that building. We hope that that's going to be done in the next 2 weeks or so. So that way that building could then be operational. There's quite a bit of rock removal that's been taking place in case anybody's gone up there. The county actually rented a piece of equipment. It's been the highway department actually utilizing it and actually saved us quite a bit of money. We're actually able to get quite a bit of rock removed from that area. The retaining wall is also being constructed for the new compactor up at Greenport as well. So it's nice to see everybody working together and a lot of production, getting a lot of work done there. It's looking good. The DMV Realty and Property, Real Property and Treasury Building. So the new roof installation has been completed. And currently contractor is working on the demo and the installation of the new windows. So that started yesterday. All things appear as though they went pretty smoothly last night as far as the demo work. And then again, installation went today. And if you stop by or drive by, you can see the new windows and see the difference between them. They're looking good. That should be completed by December 6th. At the airport, runway 3 end and taxiway pavement rehabilitation project, that has been completed. So we're just going for a reimbursement to the state now as far as that fund, or my apologies, to the FAA as far as that funding. Regarding funding, there are 2 items that I have for resolution. So at this time of year, come January, grant applications have to be submitted. So since there's not going to be a December meeting, I wanted to bring 2 items for resolution to the committee. One is for a grant application for the parallel taxiway light rehabilitation design. It's $101,554. Federal share is 90%, state is 5%, and county 5%. So out of pocket would
So
be
that's just $100,000 just to design.
just to design, Correct. That is correct. Yeah, and that's to replace the existing 20-year-old lights with new LED lights. And this is to submit for the application. So obviously,
Go out there and screw in a bulb for $2,000.
not that easy.
I guess I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Very real high efficiency.
Yeah. Because it's also designing new electrical. So it's, again, because all the wiring is old as well, underground. So it's designing all new wiring
That's
system.
just the engineering, that's not the,
That's just the
That's right,
engineering.
yeah.
That's
it's
just,
gotta be
the-
$1 million project, you're saying.
correct.
You're gonna have to start charging a bigger cut than Pablo Escobar.
All right. Second resolution is for the terminal apron construction. So that project previously received funding for the design phase, which we're in the process of completing now. And so this is to fund the construction phase of the project, which is anticipated to take place in 2023. Again, similar funding ratio. Total anticipated construction cost is $488,798. The 5% county share of that is $24,440.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Last resolution has to do with the DSS building, and so that resolution is is a resolution with task order for Niagara Mohawk implemented by Centrica, and this is to conduct an energy audit. And this is the next phase that's required. The work that they did and the presentation that they provided to the committee as far as the improvements on the DSS, that was done out of no cost to the county. The next step is to do this audit and to submit that to Niagara Mohawk, so that way they can take a look at that funding stream.
But the 23,000 is going to Centrica.
Yes, it is.
That's,
Yeah,
the way it read, I was a
It
little.
actually gets wrapped into the whole project.
Yeah,
if we-
yeah.
correct.
I wasn't sure the way it was read. I
And
know
that's-
how it normally
And
works. but-
because the agreement is
Says-
with National
Yeah,
Grid.
Yeah,
So
it's
again,
the
it
way it
is,
kind of
it is
referenced.
confusing the way it's
Yeah.
worded and the way the agreement structure works. Centrica just doing the work, but the contract actually is with National Grid, believe it or not.
What happens if you back out?
We have to pay the 23,000. That's what they're saying. That's why we
not
identified.
now. If we don't
Not now.
approve this, we don't have to back out. But once we approve this. then-
Gotcha.
Right, if you approve the audit and you move forward with the audit
Uh-huh.
and then decide not to move forward with the project
Right.
as a whole,
Then you
then
have-
you would have to, county would have to pay the 23,000 out of pocket.
I'll move it.
But again, the 23,000 is wrapped into the overall roughly $2 million project cost that was originally.
second.
Got a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just a quick item as well. I know we had originally on the agenda as far as the long-term facilities plan. So I had provided the presentation to the committee and I had received some feedback indicating that perhaps it'd be nice to actually have a formal document in place rather than just the slides and the brief summary that was provided. And what that would do is encapsulate all of the past reports, because keep in mind, the county did undertake condition surveys for several buildings. And it'd be nice to encapsulate everything into one written document. So that way everybody can make an informed decision on the path moving forward with the various
We
buildings.
had some of that stuff done.
Absolutely, yeah. So the reports are there. It's just compiling everything.
Yeah.
The issue, quite honestly, that I've been having is that I don't mind doing that, but I've been having a problem dedicating the time to do it.
Hmm.
What I've done is I've reached out to CPL to at least get a quote to assist me in compiling the information and actually getting that document together. I did not have the opportunity of getting that information together prior to this, so therefore, once I get that.
How
then
much
I'll
is
be
that
bringing
going to change the overall, discussion that we had?
I don't
I
think
mean,
that it'll
there's-
just change the
You
discussion. I
read the different parts of it, it puts you pretty much know where it's at.
agreed. I tend to think, I think the discussion will, I guess the end conclusion, I would hope would be the same. I think it would help bring folks along to make an informed decision. So they felt comfortable with that overall plan.
To see how much that's going to cost, that would be my thing.
Right. And again, that's why I'm waiting to get that cost. Once I get the cost, then I prepared a scope, tried to limit it in scope. Really, it's just the timeframe.
Because
So
a lot of the documentation has already been written.
absolutely. Yeah. So
There.
all,
I mean,
so.
You just got to read it all.
Correct. So the scope that I've put together is not to revamp those, not to rehash
I got
those.
you.
It's really to update the costs, okay? And to provide those as a reference
Right.
and incorporate the information and the guidance that I've been providing as far as the direction I would like to see the county move forward in. So again, it's not to do a new condition survey on those buildings,
Right.
but it's basically to take all the information that's been presented to date,
No,
including actually the information that was provided on the OFA.
Because some of the stuff we've actually updated too, through,
Right.
Centrica and. different-
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, so it's to take all of that information and make it a comprehensive document. So somebody can go off the shelf and get all of those documents all as one, as well as obviously having all the new updated costs and the idea.
Trouble is with stuff like that, the updated costs are only as good for the second review. roll.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
give it,
At least about 5 hours,
right. And then things can change. Right.
Well, you'll let us know. what that-
Yeah, by all means, I will. Yeah. Again, I'm not asking for the committee to take action on. I just want to let you know that's something I'm working on, and getting that to the committee for review. My apologies, I skipped over one item. My apologies, Supervisor. It's an important item. It's Trybrook Road Bridge. Yeah, so that road or that bridge has been closed. It was required as a red flag that we close the bridge. I've taken a closer look at the file on that bridge as well. And if you take a look at the notes that I prepared for the committee, based on the information that we have, it's only really being used as a local roadway. It has less than 60 vehicles traveling on that section of the roadway at any given time, on any day, I should say. Over the past several years, the weight limit has continued to drop. From 2019, it dropped to 10 tons, then in 2020 to 8 tons, 2021 to 4 tons, and now it's been closed. It's difficult as far as the location of the deterioration and the section loss, because it's right at the beam seat, which is the most critical part of that structure. And that's because it's an open deck. So any of the salt and rain and things of that nature sit down at that bridge seat right at the connection of the abutments. And that's the areas that are rotted. So really it's replacing the entire superstructure. The overall cost for something like that could be 3/4 to anywhere upwards of 1.5 million. And for the minimum number of vehicles that are actually traveling over that structure, it's hard to justify moving forward.
Was that the one that was 2.5 miles?
Yes, the detour,
Detour.
the detour is 2.5 miles.
That's what I read.
Correct. So at this point, my recommendation is to go ahead and keep that closed and abandon it. We could actually use some of the grading, because the grading is in good shape. We actually use some of that grading in other structures.
That was actually installed just not too long ago.
Correct, exactly, yeah, the decking was, yeah, it's the actual,
Failed to do the basics, right?
again, that's one of the open grading, but, again, one of the issues with a lot of the bridges is manpower and maintenance. And again, something like that, that's why we have such an issue with our truss bridges as well as our open grate decking, those bridges, because again, all the salt ends up down on those main frame structures, and then we just run into significant deterioration. We saw it with the Stall Bridge.
Sure.
We're seeing it with the Kinderhook Falls. Or except Kinderhook is part because of the
I
structure.
was looking at that down there. It's amazing. Yeah, that thick metal,
Yeah,
Just,
it doesn't take very long
You
for
walk
that
across it?
to rot.
Has anyone talked to neighbors and people in that general vicinity?
I have not. I have gone up to take a look
I've had
at.
a number of concerns, expressed to me,
Right.
not surprisingly.
Right. I have gone up and it is it is a 2-lane roadway, but it is very narrow in that one section. It really does narrow to practically a 1-lane roadway. But I know that there's another structure a little further to the west. That's a culvert structure
Right.
that the town actually owns. I did take a quick look at that over this past week, and the condition is fair. It does need to have some work. There's guide rail work that needs to be done. Water was sitting a little high, so I wasn't able to get completely underneath it. But obviously that structure becomes more important as far as the maintenance. So I think it's going to make sense for the town to have their
There's also a
consultant. take a
major
look.
tree farm right there, so I don't know what sort of impact that has.
Well, keep in mind though, there has been a reduced weight limit on the structure prior to closing. So he was not able to utilize that for any of his operation. As far
Or
as
he was, and he helped that rusted bridge out.
legally, he was not able to go ahead and utilize it.
4 tons is nothing.
it's funny though, sometimes when you really go out, and we have this in Livingston and Claremont, you really go out and ask people, when we got said and done, it was like almost 50-50. 50 didn't want them because they didn't want the traffic, and the other
Right.
50 wanted it, it was in the middle. We were gonna go along with it, but we couldn't
Right.
get the county to fund it, but,
I mean, if it's possible to have some sort of community input, that would be great.
I don't mind reaching out to them, and I'll work with the town if maybe if it's at a town
Happy to
board
do that
meeting.
with you. Yeah.
I don't mind attending a town board meeting to
Okay,
have that. That's absolutely.
thank you.
Sure.
You were on Fish and Game Road. Did you see what they did down at below the Bone and Joint Center there? Or it looked like they're cleaning up an old farm. It looked like they walked all around the field with an excavator, big excavator.
Yeah, so I've been getting bits and pieces of that. So that is my understanding of that project. That's not part of our project whatsoever. My understanding is that they're creating a wetland in that area. And that's a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation project that's taking place. So
Account for some being destroyed elsewhere?
exactly, that is correct. And again, I don't know the specifics. As far as I know, they have only been dealing with DEC. DEC's been taking on that project. My understanding is that they do not have to go before the town of Clover regarding any site plan approvals or anything like that. The way that I found out about it and the concern that I have regarding it, and I don't know if there's any update from the supervisor from Greenport, the concern that I have is that while they were constructing or doing their work, there is actually a water line that connects Greenport to the Commerce Center. So that way, water could be fed from Greenport to the Commerce Center or potentially from the Commerce Center, Mount Ida, back over to the town, because actually it's the town well field, known as the Mount Ida well field. And that crosses and traverses across that land. Although it was located, they never did a call before you dig, apparently, and they disturbed it.
So now it is a wetland.
What was it?
Yeah.
They
All
disturbed
part of the
it, you said?
program.
They stirred it at least 5 times.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
Because they thought it, again, because it has been, it's not active. Again, there are valves to isolate it. So when they did hit it, they did not have any pressurized water in the main that would cause significant flooding or anything like that. So they thought it was an old, my understanding is, they thought it was an old abandoned line. So my understanding is that they're in discussions with the town regarding next steps. But that's a New York State DEC project.
The whole line.
And I have no problems with.
And it's, again, as you've identified,
Same as we do.
Do you know where they destroyed the wetland? And
no, I don't. No, I don't
is it
know.
arbitrary? Like, as long as it's within.
Yeah, it does not have to, my understanding, it does not have to be within a close proximity of, that project or anything like that. They identify a piece of land that has the potential, and it's a New York State DEC project. Monies go into, there's a fund that people contribute to if they're going to disturb and they cannot recreate it on their own project.
Yeah.
There's a fund that they have to contribute to, and then New York State routinely goes around and actually either enhances existing wetlands or creates or expands or creates new wetlands. And that's what they're doing in this case.
Too bad, it's a nice looking little farm.
They did some work on the Hudson River down there between Stuyvesant and Stockport, and that was to mitigate some things they did in Manhattan,
Yeah, so I don't know the particulars. I haven't had direct contact with DEC on this one. So I don't know where the actual project took place or projects, because it could be actually more than one project that actually funded this construction. But yeah, I agree. It's very odd what they were doing out there.
Good question for some of our elected officials in the state.
As far as our elected officials in the state, as we saw a big price tag on the OFA proposal, what can we do as supervisors to go after grants? I mean, where should we focus our attentions as a county board to try to mitigate that expense? Because it's something we really should do. That's a big sticker.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There has.
One of my thoughts is on that, and I thought about that earlier, when we looked at the sewer line project, we started out there at a $12-13 million potential project. And by the time we got done, it was, less than half of that out of pocket. And it goes to the sewer district. So that's another project. But again, the idea was we made a decision, we started moving forward, we started doing engineering so that we had a commitment. And I think if we continue down that path, and I'll let Ray speak more elegantly, but we have to get committed. We have to decide this is what the county needs. And then we have to start the engineering. And once you start the engineering, then you can really look for money. And yes, there is money for that project. We had some potential money before, but we fell short in not having plans and all those things. So Ray, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when on any, whether it's a state agency or any other funding source, again, they want to make sure that the county or whoever is undertaking the project, that they've got skin in it, so to speak. And again, that should help and will help as far as that funding opportunity. By all means, as best as possible, either individually or collectively, as far as state representatives, is getting a hold of the state representatives to show them the existing conditions so they have an understanding of the need for such a project. I know that we have gone for a grant to the state. And so it's to make sure that they're aware that that grant application has been submitted to the state, and maybe through their support, we can, again, obtain that grant or other grants as well, because there are various grant opportunities that are out there. But at least I think it's important to reach out, even if it's on an individual supervisor basis, to get the ball rolling. I think it is important, as Supervisor Knott has indicated, to continue to show the support of the county as a whole, that this is a project. Again, it's in its infancy. Please understand, it definitely is in its infancy, and that project can be changed as it progresses as far as layout of the building, look at the building, any of those items. But at least there needs to be that commitment.
But those next
That's
steps
taking
need to
place.
come, and we need to start looking at doing an RFP for an architect or engineering firm to do those work, so that we can then work with that firm to say, these are the changes we'd like to make to this concept plan, right? I mean,
Correct.
we need to-
Absolutely. Yep.
Once we get somebody, under contract, and we can tell them this is what we want.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so my goal would be, again, if I can get this report together, this facilities report together, that goes ahead, gets all the information into one document, if you would. And again, understanding it's a living document. The board members already have the summary that I had provided, but at least this document hopefully would make anyone that was uncomfortable or was seeking additional information comfortable that they can now make an informed decision to take those next steps, which would potentially would be going out for an RFP and then moving forward in that direction as far as the OFA as a whole. But in the interim, I think it's very important to constantly reach out to your the state representatives to make sure that they're aware that something may be forthcoming. It may, again, change as far as its look, but something needs to be done, especially with the OFA building. There's something that really does need to be done there because the need is dramatic and it's not very efficient. And that's just going to continue to be problematic as we move forward.
Any other questions for Ray? Or anybody else? Need to bring anything to Public Works? We don't have anybody on the Zoom meeting, they
No, so you can only watch.
Okay.
You need to come if they want to
didn't
participate.
know if they could email us questions or something.
Yeah, I don't have any. I checked my email.
Okay. If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Hi.
All right. Thank you.